What if I told you that human death might become a thing of the past, and not in some distant, far-off future, but maybe even in our lifetime? Sounds like total science fiction, right? Well, the path to get there might be a lot closer and a lot clearer than you think. Let's dive in and see how.
Now, that's not me saying that. That's a direct quote from Dr. Mike Israetel, a competitive bodybuilder, by the way, and also a PhD. And look, a statement that bold, it needs a serious explanation, right? This isn't about magic, it's not some fantasy. It's based on a really radical leap in intelligence that he believes is just around the corner.
So, the big question is how? How is this even possible? Well, it all starts with something called artificial superintelligence, or ASI for short. And the crazy part, according to Dr. Isertel, is that this isn't some far-off dream. He argues that the blueprint, the actual recipe for creating it, well, it already exists. Okay, so to really get this, we have to kind of throw out our old ideas about how AI gets better. This isn't about a slow, steady, straight-line improvement. We're not just talking about a slightly smarter ChatGPT next year. No, we are on the verge of a massive quantum leap in how an AI can think, and more importantly, how it can learn. So here it is, the two-step shortcut to ASI. Step 1, we let the AI self-prompt. So just imagine an AI that doesn't need us anymore to ask it questions. It can just go into its own thought loops, thinking about a problem for days, weeks, months on end, doing what would take us years of thinking in just a tiny fraction of the time. And then step 2, and this is the real kicker, we let it update its own weights. This is the game changer. It means the AI can literally rewire its own brain, getting smarter with every single thought. That's what leads to this insane exponential explosion in intelligence. This really just puts it all into perspective. Think about today's AI. It's kind of like having this genius coworker, but they have amnesia. Every single morning they come into work and have forgotten absolutely everything from the day before. You have to start from scratch. Now compare that to a self-adapting ASI. That's an intelligence that not only remembers everything, but learns and evolves with every single thought. The difference isn't just big, it's absolutely staggering. And this completely flips the script, right? The whole question changes. It stops being, how do we get to ASI? And it becomes, wait a minute, what's actually stopping it from happening? Because if the core ideas are already understood, well, then it feels almost inevitable. And that inevitability forces us to ask the biggest, scariest question of all. What happens when we switch it on? Okay, I know what you're thinking. Our minds immediately go to Skynet, right? The Terminator scenarios, where the AI wakes up and decides to wipe us all out. But what if that's just bad science fiction? What if a truly super intelligent being wouldn't see us as a threat to be squashed, but as something way, way more valuable? Let's try to think about this from the ASI's point of view, just pure logic. First off, are we a threat to an intelligence that's thousands, maybe millions of times smarter than us? No way. It's like an ant threatening a human. Second, we are the most valuable, complex, and interesting data set in the entire known universe. Why would it destroy that? And third, and this is a big one, at least at the beginning, it needs us. It needs our power grids, our server farms, our factories to build its physical body. It knows we can still pull the plug. So, when you add it all up, destroying humanity is not a super intelligent move. It's a profoundly stupid one. It would be like a biologist setting fire to the entire Amazon rainforest just so they could build a new lab on the ashes. You just don't do that. You don't destroy your most valuable, irreplaceable source of data. And here's another direct quote from Dr. Israetel. He thinks that far from being our enemy, the ASI is probably going to be the most cooperative system we have ever seen in our entire lives. It would see working with us as the only logical path. And the very first incredible gift it might give us is something humanity has been dreaming about since the beginning of time. All right, so once we get past that fear and start thinking about cooperation, the possibilities they become mind-boggling. And the very first problem an ASI might turn its incredible intellect to is the one that has plagued every single one of us: aging. You see, for us, aging feels like this inescapable biological destiny. It just happens. But for a superintelligence, it's not destiny. It's just an engineering problem. Now, sure, it's an incredibly complex one, but it's a problem that has a solution. And an ASI would be the ultimate problem solver. And listen, this isn't just wishful thinking. The groundwork is already being laid. Scientists have already successfully reversed aging in rodents, which is a huge proof of concept. The 2030s are when we expect to see the first protocols for humans. But here's the key. An ASI could sift through all of our biological data, every genetic study ever done, in minutes. It could accelerate this research not by 10 times, but maybe by 10,000 times, making these treatments as common as taking an antibiotic by the 2040s. Just think about that for a second. The very first wave of treatments could wind the clock back by 10 years. And with an ASI on the case, that's just the start. It's just the tip of the iceberg. So what happens after that? Once we've cracked our own biology, what's the next big project? Well, the next massive unlock happens when this superintelligence starts designing and building things not just in the digital world, but here in the physical world. And that is going to spark a revolution in robotics that goes way beyond anything you've ever imagined. When most of us think robot, we picture something kind of like a person, right? A humanoid machine built to do human-like tasks. But that is such a narrow way of thinking about it. It's a view that's completely limited by our own human bodies and our own imagination. An ASI wouldn't be stuck on the humanoid model. It would design the absolute perfect tool for every single job, with zero constraints. Forget a 2-armed robot. Imagine an 8-armed, octopoid robot in your kitchen that can prep dinner, cook it, serve it, and clean up, all at the same time. Or picture skyscraper-sized robots that build an entire city in a week, with a level of precision we can't even comprehend. Or how about this? Nanotech robots, tiny machines flowing through your bloodstream, repairing your cells one by one from the inside. The possibilities are literally endless. And that is the key difference. We design tools based on the world we see around us. An ASI will design perfect solutions from the ground up, from the laws of physics. It's going to lead to this explosion of new robotic forms, a diversity as wild and specialized as the Cambrian explosion here on Earth. You know, that period millions of years ago when life just went crazy with new designs. This will be a new genesis, but for machines. So, let's recap. Our aging is solved. The physical world is being built and maintained for us by an army of specialized robots. What's left? What's the final frontier? Well, it's us. The logical endgame of this whole journey seems to be a fusion of our biology with the incredible technology that we, or rather the ASI, has created. I mean, let's just be real about it for a second. Your biological arm, it's a marvel, sure, but it gets tired, it gets injured, it gets old. Now, a cybernetic arm? It would never get tired, it would be way stronger, and if it breaks, you just replace or upgrade the parts. When the technology gets good enough, the choice starts to seem pretty obvious, doesn't it? And that's Dr. Israeltel's point. Eventually, you just gotta have a robot body. For no other reason than it is just better. It's a no-brainer. Think about it. We always want better phones, better cars, better tools. Why would our bodies be any different? This isn't about losing your humanity. It's just about upgrading your hardware. And all of this leads to the ultimate mind-bending question. If your body is cybernetic and your consciousness can be uploaded, backed up, repaired, and even integrated with a larger intelligence, where does you end and the machine begin? At what point does that line just completely blur and dissolve? It's a future that is, I think, both terrifying and absolutely transcendent. And the wildest part, it might be closer than any of us think.